by getting crucified, and they, to save face, had to conjure up this story. 8, they really saw what they saw.
Without coming to a conclusion. And a man that hasn't got a conclusion knows very little about the subject, because the psychological reactors are such, as you expose yourself
The meter's
to facts,
reversed.
you have psychological
10
reactors.
is on the left.
You know why there's so many theories? It's just pretty tough to not give credence to the psychological honesty of the preachers. So down through history, as the story of the resurrection has been told, price tags I'll mention in a moment to the telling of it became exhibits on display.
Finally, an RF gain button that works correctly.
Why such a story could
You
be
turn
told.
it down, the needle goes down.
Faith-saving stories or theories for the disciples. Analyze every single theory. Long tomb, resuscitation, Romans taking it, Jews taking it, disciples taking it. Every single theory is blown apart by the fact that they didn't just preach an empty tomb. All those theories.
Didn't just preach resurrection. Resurrection, a living Christ that appeared to them, with whom they... Mars is, producción de espacio con el que venga aquí. Y la producción, como una costumbre, cargo de Patricia Martínez. Prosecutor says that 70 investigations have been opened into allegations.
70 and 80. Let's check selectivity on this old dog. All right. So we're in the shortwave 1, which is right there. So we're in the 6 range, but you read the scale here. So, gosh, I can't even see it. I hope you guys can see it. I think it says 930. So the angle on this says it's like 930, but the signal was 935. So it's like reading like 933 or 934. Anyway, so we want to go to 6070 and 6080.
Vital Christ and an ascending Christ. They either
So,
lied with the whole story.
that glare is, there we go.
They cannot escape being either lied.
6,000. 630 is Radio Marti. 10, 20, 30. Then we got a 70 and an 80. 50, 60. It's there, a little weak. Let's 0 beat it. $6070. The 7610 ain't that much better. Little bit. Let's try 6080. Seven, 8. And here's how I 0 beat it. It's got a BFO button. Turn the BFO on. Hear the tone? BFO off. 6080. All right, everybody. Hello, Nick here. So, I just had a bug up my butt to compare this old Panasonic RF2200, which is really only known to be like an AM radio because it has this really cool and AM broadcast antenna that you can flip up and twist around. It has nothing, that doesn't do anything for shortwave. Here's your shortwave antenna right here. But I wanted to, and it's, as you can see, it's pure analog, right? And this thing is from the early 1980s. And I mean, they put shortwave bands on here, but this was an AM FM radio back in the day. So I took my Wellbrook and I got an adapter that terminates in an alligator clip, and I clipped it to the post on the back. And so theoretically, we're kind of pumping the Wellbrook signal through this radio. I don't know how well that's working. There's no switch to discern between internal antenna or external antenna. So I don't know if that's helping. Oh, you know what we can do? We can do a test where I could clip it to the actual whip instead of to that terminal in the back and see if the signal goes up. But I'm pretty darn happy with what this thing is getting. And you can use these buttons to calibrate the accuracy of this fine-tuned dial down here. So every 500 kilohertz, you lock this down and it locks in that position. And then you'll get a tone, and you can zero beat the tone, then you release the button, and your money dead on for maybe a couple of, maybe 100, 200 kilohertz either side of that. And then you have to redo it again. So you can do it at 500 kilohertz, or you can do it at every, what does that say, 100, 125 kilohertz, whatever. I'm having a hard time seeing through this camera lens here. But yeah, don't know, it works great. This is a great little radio. So let's go back. All right. This is a very weak shortwave signal. I normally don't get 6.080 here in Dallas. All right, so let's... All right, let me unclip the Wellbrook. We lost the signal. And now let's clip it to the antenna itself. Did it go up? I wasn't watching the meter. I think it might have. All I did was clip it to the whip. I can even compact it down there. Wow, I think it might even have went. All right, so I have to look around the back. You guys watch and tell me. I'm gonna unclip this and touch it to the terminal in the back. Watch the meter and see if the meter goes up or down. Off. Touching. Oh yeah, the signal, see, this is a backwards meter. 10 is all the way over here, 0 is to the right. So if I clip it here, let me get this open. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, baby. Dang, it's almost as good as the 7610. Who needs to spend $3,500 on a 7610 when you can spend $115 on this radio on eBay and then send it to Vlado to get recapped for, I think he charges $165. Dang! This one has a little more audio coming out of it. Still a bunch of noise and crackling and stuff. The sync won't lock. Doesn't sound any better. Yep. So this piece of shit is marginally better than this. If it's even better, listen to that. 6.080 in Dallas, Texas. I never get this. But all I did was use an alligator clip and clip a damn Wellbrook on there. Any fool can do that. Are we still 0 beat? Nope. Narrow filter. I think we got a new name for this video. I think I'm gonna call it Panasonic Analog RF2200 beats the dog shit out of a Lowe HF235. Yeah, so I'm being a little bit sarcastic or facetious or whatever. I don't know, I gotta go look those two words up in the dictionary, but yeah, maybe you can tell I'm not super happy with the performance of the Lowe because the sync isn't great like everyone says it's supposed to be. So I got suckered into buying a radio that doesn't perform as well as I had hoped or thought it was going to perform. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the radio. Everything works perfect. And the radio sounds fine, by the way. Okay? It's just that the sync doesn't work as good as a Drake. Okay? And we did a test on that in the previous video, so go back and watch it. If you don't believe me, go back and watch it. So, yeah, I mean, all right, I'm really exaggerating a lot here. The Lowe is a very nice radio. In my opinion, it's not as good as either that Drake or that Drake. Yeah, of course it's better than this radio, but not by a lot. Like I said, I paid $115 on eBay for this and sent it to somebody who recapped it in his garage. So, yeah. Pretty dang nice. All right. That's just a little test I wanted to try out. All right, thanks. See ya.